It is Epsilon Gaming here today, and I'm back with another how to code a plugin tutorial. I'm sorry for not posting in a while. I've been busy working on factions, which is pretty awesome. Maybe I'll show you guys around at the end of this video, a little tour, and just a bunch of other stuff. But I'm going to start posting more again. So, in this video, I'll be teaching you guys how to make a broadcasting plugin with like a header and a footer. It's going to look pretty nice. So, let's get started. Make your package and project and main class and get here. So let's make it extends Java plugin. Now import that. I don't know why that's not importing. I'll do that later. Actually, let me do that right now. Sometimes my Eclipse is a bit buggy, but I forgot to extend Spigot, that's why. Alright. So hopefully you guys remember to do that and don't mess up right there like I just did. So let's import that and get going. So now, what we're going to actually do is we're going to make basically our own event type of thing. Basically, when you type one line, everything inside will happen. So let's get started and just type public void broadcasts. Open close parentheses and an open bracket and hit enter. So now, if you type broadcast open and close parentheses, say you do it in an event, it'll broadcast something or like whatever's in here. You might not understand that, but just keep watching and I'll explain as we go on. So what we're going to want to do is, let's make a public integer and then let's just name that broadcast number and set it equal to 0. Alright, so what that's doing is basically it's a number that can be accessed or changed by anything in this whole class. So let's get started. Inside broadcast, let's type if broadcast number equals 0, which is what it always, actually no, we don't do that first. We gotta make a runnable. So we do bucket.getServer.getScheduler.schedule sync repeating task. And then it's going to ask for the plugin and a runnable. So we'll type main. And what we actually have to do is make main extend plugin, but we'll do that in a bit. So just type main.plugin. That'll give you an error, but we'll fix that in a minute. So then type new runnable. Open and close parentheses and open a bracket here. And then what we're going to want to type is public void run. And so whatever is inside of here will run on a repeated schedule. On a repeating schedule. And we could set the time for that and everything in a little bit. What I'm going to want to do is type up here public static plugin. So that's saying, let's import that, org.bukkit.plugin. And now what that is saying is the main class is the plugin, so that will no longer give you an error. When we do the on enable, we're going to have to say plugin equals this, but we're not up to that yet. So now this is also calling an error. I think I wasn't supposed to type that. But it's calling an error because we don't have the arguments yet to set the time and delay for when we start the repeating task. So what we're going to want to do is get this parenthesis or this bracket right here, type comma 0, comma 20 star, and then just type time, and then close that bracket and with a semicolon. So we're going to make this time configurable in the config, so we don't need to set that right now. But let's get started. So what we're going to want to do is type if broadcast number equals 0, int broadcasts equals, and then get config dot get int, actually no, get string list, and then it's going to be broadcasts dot size. So that's how many broadcast messages are in your config, and that's what that integer will be. So say you have 3 different messages, that'll set this integer to 3. And now what we're going to want to do is set broadcast number so this is saying that the broadcast number is now equal to 3. This will be useful in just a second. So now what we're going to want to do is let's make a header, a message, and a footer. So string header equals get config dot get string, and let's just say header. We'll set the config up after this, but now we're going to also want to translate the color code, so you can use color codes in your config. So chat color dot translate alternate color codes, open a parenthesis, type a single quotation, type end, and then close a single quotation, then type a comma, and make sure to close the bracket or parenthesis over there. So what that's saying is whatever you type in the header column of your config, if you use N7 and A and any color code, it'll translate that automatically. So now bucket.getServer.broadcast message header. So now that that's done, every time this broadcast is ran over the repeating schedule, it will broadcast the header. So now we're going to actually want to get the messages. So what we want to do now is type string message or broadcast, but we already used that up here, so let's just type string message equals get config dot get string list dot get string list broadcasts dot get, and then we're gonna get broadcast number -1. So why we get broadcast number -1 is because the first message in the config is 0 for some reason instead of 1. So when this is 1, it'll be getting the 0 message. So we set it to 3, it wouldn't have a third. It's a bit confusing to explain, but let's just put it like this. Message 1, message 2, and message 3. So what this is actually doing is this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. If we didn't -1, we would be trying to get 3, which does not exist, and it will be giving us a null pointer exception. So we also have to translate the alternate color code, so let's do chat color.translate alternate color codes, and type a single column, single quotation, and single quotation, then comma. And now that we have that, let's broadcast the message. So we are pretty good so far. We have the header and the message. Now we just got to do a footer. It's the same thing as the header, except we're typing footer. So you could copy and paste it if you want. If you want a little more practice, we'll just type it out. So string footer equals chat color dot translate alternate color codes. And I'm just going to rush through this since it's the same exact thing. Config dot get string. And now instead of header, we type footer. And then bucket dot get server dot broadcast message footer. Alright, so now we have all the messages set up. So now we're going to want to say how long each broadcast broadcasts. So we're going to type here, we can type it up here. Public int equals get public int time. Actually, no. Type it in here. Int time equals get config dot get int time. So a player will have to define the time in the config, and that should have set it. We have to make it a final, I believe. Final int time. Why is that giving me an error? Let me check. Alright, let's put this up here, above the scheduler. And there we go. So it was in the scheduler, so it wasn't actually reading for that. So put that right above the scheduler, and that'll set the time for the config. We times it by 20 because the scheduler goes in ticks, which every 20 ticks is 1 second. So we'll just do it in seconds. So it's a lot easier in the config. So we're done with the broadcasts public void. So now we have to do an on enable. So public void on enable plugin this equals plugin. That shouldn't be giving me an error. This equals plugin. I might have put the wrong thing first. So plugin equals this. See if that works. Alright, plugin equals this, and then we're gonna have to save default config. Same as always. And now we're gonna actually type broadcasts. Open and close a parenthesis and close it with a semicolon. So now when it starts, this will automatically start up, which saves us time of having to run a command or an event to get it to start. So now let's get to the config. New file config.yml. So you can add notes in the config by starting with a number sign, and you could type whatever you want. But since we know what it's going to do, we don't have to do that. So time, header, messages, or broadcast, I believe we type, footer. So time, let's just set it default to every 10 seconds. Header, let's make it NC and M. You can make whatever you want. This is just for the video. NB, NC, alert, and B, and C and M. Gotta make it look nice. So that's the default header. For broadcast, type enter, 2 spaces, and then a dash, and then type a space. And now all these can be your messages or your broadcast. So NC and M, actually NC and L message 1. And B and L message 2, and D and L message 3. You could have as many messages as you want. I'm just going to do this just for the example. And let's just make the header the same as the footer, just to save us some time. So let's save that and exit out of that. Let's make sure we didn't forget anything on here. It'll broadcast the header, that, and that. It will set it to 3, so that'll broadcast 2, 1, and 0. And we set the time, and everything is looking good so far. So let's just make the plugin.yml. I'm just going to copy this one since it's pretty much the same every time. We can name it broadcasts. Let's do me.jpriani13.broadcasts.main 1.0, and let's just name it or description custom broadcast plugin. That's all we need in that, and let's export that as let's see broadcasts. So load that up onto the server. I don't know where my YouTube server is. Plugins. How much time? 16 minutes. I made this plugin, well, a more advanced plugin for someone, but it gave me the idea to teach you guys how to make it. So now let's put broadcasts in there. Start the server up. Join server. And let's see, /pl, I'm not up, jpriani13 /pl, and there you see message 3. Let's just wait for the other 2 messages. Oh, what we forgot to do actually is to make it decrease every time it sends a message. So after this, we're just going to do broadcast number equals broadcast number -1. So it'll be decreasing every single time. So let's go back and export that. I can't believe I forgot that. But let's reload that back up. Place that. Reload it. Brought message 3. Message 2. And message 1 should be coming up. Message 1. And so now that we see it works, that is all for this video. I was going to give you guys a tour, but the video is a little long, so maybe I'll put another video up later of factions. If you guys like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any requests, add me on Skype or comment your requests, because I need ideas to make plugins for you guys. So if you need anything, let me know. That is it for today, guys.